and I couldn't take it anymore. So I figured I'm just going to do anything I need to do, except if you're bartending or waitressing. That's different because you're making your own tips. But apart from that, I said, well, I'm going to take this money and start my own businesses. So that's what I did. And when my tax return check came, I said, well, any type of money I made, big chunks, I never bought myself Christian Louboutin shoes or anything. I always put it towards helping my family, helping bills, or investing into shops and into starting businesses. So when I got my tax return check last year, I opened the shop. I said, well, I'm going to put down on the shop. I did all the construction with my father. Yeah. And then we opened it.
Hi everybody, I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Trade Secrets by Tripletote. Today we're interviewing a very special guest. Her name is Nadege Brown.
Hi.
How's it going, Nadege?
Fine, how are you?
We're here today to learn about her journey. What I think is unique about her that I'll clue you into early is that she's a person that is doing the smartest way to try to start a business. She's working a full-time job to keep herself afloat, and then she's starting a business that's taking off on the side, which is a great thing because she's stepping into it as cautiously and smart as possible, yet she still took the risk of starting her business, not just talking about it. Nadege, how's everything going?
Great. Everything's great. Enjoying my time with you here.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, I want to give the people a sense of your history, where you come from. I had a great interview last week with your mom, Miss Natalie Sweeney. You guys will see that interview. And she told me about the things you were doing in entrepreneur land. She told me about your journey just growing up in France, coming here, getting acclimated, excelling in school, deciding to take, the quote-unquote risk of entrepreneurship. So I was interested to sit down with you to just get your story, firsthand. And for all the people out there, where were you born? Where did you grow up?
Well, I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, until the age of about 6.5. Then I moved to France for 8 years, from 6.5 to 14.5. And the reason why I say 14.5 is because it was during the summer that my mom chose to come back to the United States, where I ended up going to middle school right away. 7 days before, right after going to middle school in Danbury, Connecticut. And then right after middle school, I decided to go to FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology, in Manhattan. And since I dormed there for a year and saw the price of dorming, I figured I might as well just stay in New York City, get my own apartment, and build from there and start businesses and charity through there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Going back to you making the change to come here, then 7 days later you got to jump into the school system, right?
That's crazy.
But when I, again, understand your story, your journey, do you think those were the things that were rooted in you, the ability to be able to make moves on a moment's notice that led to you becoming an entrepreneur, just your flexibility?
Definitely, because I feel that I had no attachment emotionally to anyone. So at 14, you didn't grow up with friends. You had nobody that you went to elementary or kindergarten or anybody that it's a totally different country. So you have to keep your mind busy on something and not be depressed or think about what happened in the past and why you're not blah, 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 you know? So I figured, well, I have to keep my mind busy. And the best way to do that is to just start businesses. And I actually wanted to start going back into camps when I was young, because in France, the government provides camps and such for kids so they can get off the street and not get into illegal activity or any kind of thing like that. So they put a lot of funds into that. And so I figured when I came here, I was just going to go back into the same life, same camp life, and have a great life. And they're not cheap camps. They're amazing camps. Talking horseback riding camps or skiing in the Pyrenees or something like that for 8 days. And the government pays for almost all of it. You pay for $8 a kid extra for them to go on it. It was amazing. So I figured, well, I'll start doing businesses that will enable that kind of, charitable behavior, and also maybe lead into other, maybe, show other businesses that it's okay to put a little percentage into making a change into the, next generations, because that's what's really important. Instead of seeing what's going on TV, to actually instill change and bigger thoughts of building into children. So
now, when you come across a new idea, venture that you want to get into, how do you make yourself leap into it? Is there something you do? Do you make a list of pros and cons? Do you just say, screw it and jump in? Like, what mechanisms do you have inside you that trigger you to say, go, do it?
Well, it's passion, first of all. I'm so passionate about every single thing I do. I truly believe in what I do. I started off by becoming a swimwear designer because, a little bit personal, but I couldn't find swimwear that fit my top, and it was really hard for me to fit in anything. And I felt that in France they had so much more attention to detail, so much more beauty, so many. I mean, it's the fashion capital of the world. I mean, it was just such a different way of seeing fashion than when I came over here. I felt like a lot of things were bland and not up to par with people's sizes. It was all just clear cut, small, medium, large, and you couldn't mix match or anything. So I figured that was a big problem. And so when I went to FIT, I figured, well, if I could start a business that helps women like me, and also, be more confident in themselves, and also give back into charity and try to help get kids off the street, in France, like I said, well, then I had a win-win. So I figured I would just go with it. And after FIT, during FIT, actually, I took a class that was for a competition for Khan Incorporated, and it's in FIT. It's called the Death Class. It's a class that a lot of people avoid. But my guidance counselor, Miss Pomerantz, shout out to her, put me in that class, and it changed my life. And it really showed me that it's something that I really want to do. So we ended up making third place for the competition.
Wow.
And the first place was $25,000. Second place was, I think $15,000 or $10,000. And third place with $1,000 each. And we won the competition third place, but it's through phases. Yeah. And we could have won first if we went with Singapore, like I told them, but they wanted to go with Japan, so it's fine. So, but whatever. But it showed me that, no, I have it in me to do this. I'm passionate enough. I know how to exercise my marketing skills. I went to school for. I might as well just apply it all in, one, and start businesses. And I won that competition. I won another competition for the Blasingame family. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They own a lot of magazines such as Essence, Ebony. A lot of magazines. And they're
out of Chicago or New York?
In New York.
Okay, gotcha.
And so they have an annual competition for haute couture designers. And so I figured, well, they reached out when I went there once for one of my models, which is one of my really good friends. She's actually the business partner of the shop. Nice. When I went with her to one of her shows, the guy, Mr. Blasingame, John Blasingame, called me over and pulled me to the side and said, wait, where are you going? What do you do? Please be part of the competition. So I said, okay. And then on that one, I won second place. And we had really big judges on that one. And so from there, I realized it is easy to actually, if you're passionate and you believe in something, just focus and not let anything else, come around. It's like dodging bullets, like the Matrix, that's how it comes about, literally passion.
Now, when you're at FIT, do you major in a specific thing? I'll step back. Is FIT all types of design or just fashion?
Oh my God. So FIT has such a broad spectrum of, degrees and, fields. So my degree was in international trade and marketing. Wow. It's one of the hardest majors there because you have to speak 3 languages. So I'm fluent in French. I speak Spanish, conversational Spanish, and obviously English. And it's really, really, really intense. I loved it. I personally loved it. But it's a great major for business. FIT was just nominated one of the #1 fashion school in the world.
Wow.
It was on the news and newspapers and such, whatever. No, it was really interesting to be in such a field that was really, really for business. I loved it. It was amazing, yeah.
That's great. Now, those marketing skills came in handy. The first fashion business was a swimsuit line, or was there something before that?
No, it was a swimsuit line. That's how I started. I launched, I also felt, I always tell people, if you want to start a business, don't make it personal, because the thing about starting my own business, I didn't make it about me. I made it about other people.
That's right.
So others believed that it was a corporation. I wasn't at all anywhere to be found on my website, really, except for About Us, but on my website, on our social media or anything. So people automatically were driven to it. They thought it was a corporation. I made it look very haute couture, very upscale. And so I started getting a lot of attention from photographers, fashion photographers. I also reached out with my business partner, Valentina. She also went to FIT for International Trade and Marketing.
Gotcha.
We reached out to some magazines and such, and they said, yeah, no, you have great stuff and you have great designs. We would love to shoot. And then one of my friends, when I was on a fashion show vacation in Curaçao, Kelsey, she got a deal with Barbara Corcoran on Shark Tank. And she said, I love what you do. So one day I got a phone call from the Riviera agency that represent Fashion Week in New York and Fashion Week Swim Miami. And they asked me if I wanted to be part of Fashion Week Swim Miami. And for me, that was a big opportunity. I was just like, of course. I mean, of course, who wouldn't, And after that, it was expensive, but I had to find an investor. And since if you're passionate about something, you're going to find an investor. You're going to find the funds. You're going to find the means,
That's right.
So I went out of my way and looked for an investor and found an investor. And he came forward with the money. We went to Fashion Week. We got a lot of press. We were in Elle Magazine, DVF. Top 7 picks of her swim week fashion, whatever she had to pick. We were on that. We were also on E News, but their blog. I mean, we were in a bunch of magazines. I think Cosmopolitan as well. I believe so. But a bunch of magazines, and it gave us a lot of,
press coverage.
Yes, a lot of press. So after that, we reached out to all the buyers. We had a lot of connections. We worked our way through everything, but the investor ended up not funding us for production. He pulled out right before.
Wow.
So I couldn't go ahead and keep on promising something that I couldn't deliver if I didn't have the funds, and I didn't want to break bonds with these buyers, with these connections. So I kind of scaled back and said, well, what am I going to do? And instead of being depressed, I did go through a depression part of my life because of this. But I said, okay, well, I'm the type of person that always looks for solutions to a problem. So I said, well, I'm going to start another business that's going to fund the swimwear business. And that's where Canna Banana Distributors came
That's awesome.
About.
You know what's interesting, and you can tell me if you relate. When you put all this work and energy and momentum into something, you see it where you're actually at, when you're doing it, inside of it, working, like if it's late night or when you're actually doing the work, it's almost not even on your radar. You see the future. You see this is about to blow.
100%.
You're winning awards. You're winning contests. You're getting press coverage. You like, I will stay up. I will do whatever. Because this is obviously about to blow. And then if it doesn't work out, it's almost like you were about to get married and the person backed out. It's like that.
It's true.
I remember one time I had a product that I had to perfect, and I didn't do it right. Like hindsight, I did not do the final product right. I know that. However, in that time when I was doing, I was like, yeah, this is about to be it. I can tell. The investor's saying yes. I'm moving forward. I'm doing. And then I get to the end, and the investor's like, nope, that was not what we were looking for. It felt like he broke up with me.
Yeah, right?
I'm telling you, like, I was like, I know about the depression, but you can just feel yourself slide. Like, how could I come so far and it not work? I did everything if I knew to do something else or better, I would have done it because I put my all into it. So those
and you know
hurt.
what else? Also hearing that you inspire so many people that you don't think. Honestly, it's so crazy to hear when you have young girls write to you or to me saying, I look up to you, I inspire you, and to me, I'm a nobody. But when you hear that, it makes you say, okay, well, I have to keep on going. This person is looking at me. This person has nobody. If I'm her inspiration, that means she doesn't have much inspiration around her. So it is something that also creates passion within me, because my whole aura and my whole being is to create charities.
That's right.
So when I know that this is something that is changing somebody's life and that they see hope in somebody, then I definitely have to keep going with it.
Yeah.
My name means hope.
Yeah.
Nadege means hope in Russian and Ukrainian. Nadeges.
So rightfully so.
Yeah.
That's great. You know what I like too is that even though you hit those hard times, it's not only that you didn't give up, but you can just tell that you almost like appreciate on a certain level, because you know that you'll never feel that pain again.
Oh yeah, I tell people another thing. Growing up in New York, I never grew up comfortably after college. I always struggled. It's very expensive to live there. I never depended on anybody else. I always paid my own bills, and it was very hard to start businesses, to have everything. So yes, bartending and waitressing is a way to create your own future in New York and not have any problem doing so. So that's what helped me start my businesses. That's what helped me do a lot and also be independent learn. And what I tell people, I was going to tell you, is I tell them, don't ever be too comfortable, because when you're comfortable, that's when you lose inspiration. That's when you lose motivation. I always put myself in those positions. I'll rent a room just to be uncomfortable.
No, I know you don't.
Just to say, you know what? Don't stay here every day. This is something you want to do. So this is what's going to make you better. So. So basically I don't believe in comfort. I think that when you're comfortable, that's when, things don't change.
You know how you mentioned that? That makes me think of two things too. Like, I never like to get comfortable, probably to a fault. Like, I never like to get comfortable. I'm so used to grinding.
Me too.
You know what I mean? That even to a fault, even to a point, like, it doesn't have to be that hard. You can let up a little, or you're doing one by one. You honestly could be taking steps 5 at a time. So I always have to pick myself up to be like, no, you're too much in the grind right now. You're actually working. It's counterproductive.
Me too. My business partner, Valentina, thinks I'm crazy, because sometimes I'll go all day, I won't eat, and I'm like, no, let's do it. And she'll be like, okay, but I have to eat. I'm gonna faint. And I'm the one that's like, you're not normal for wanting to eat. I'm like, she's like, no, you're not normal for wanting to work that much and not put anything else, because I feel like I'm gonna lose my train of thought. I feel like I just want to keep on going, and so I'm gonna lose my train of thought, and
the other thing I feel that you can tell me how you relate to it. I know that business is about setting up shop, obviously, or setting up your business online, your service, whatever you have. I know in your business plan you have competitors,
of course,
but when I'm out there, I don't feel like there's no competition. I don't feel like I'm better than everybody.
No,
I just feel like I black out into my own zone, and there's no competition. There's nobody competing with me. I can only find my own things that I can improve to make my thing more efficient or get better. But I don't feel like there's no competition, and I love to grind.
Me too. My best friend in France asked me this summer when I was in France. I hadn't seen her in 20 years, and she asked me, sometimes, do you feel like you have any competition? I was like, oh, honey, I have no competition.
That's right.
But I didn't mean it, and she laughed. But I was like, no, I don't mean it in a narcissistic way. I mean it in a confident way where my ideas are my ideas.
That's right.
Nobody else is going to have my ideas, because I'm not mooching off of anybody else.
That's right.
I'm not saying, oh, I like what this person's doing, I'm going to do it. No, my ideas were original. They came from me, from the heart, and what I believe might change my future and other people's future. That had nothing to do with anybody else.
That's right.
And my mother, she's an architect. My father, he has his own businesses too. And we truly believe that, and our whole family, we're very artistic, first of all, but we also believe that just, staying focused and depending on yourself ultimately is what's going to bring you somewhere.
Yeah. And then I believe that since you're, a person could be in startup mode, like, I think competition exists. I think you should acknowledge it, fine. On paper in your business plan, fine,
yes.
100%.
Yes.
But if I'm not doing a certain number yet, I am not a target if I make sneakers for Nike. I'm not even on their radar.
Sure.
And I can make millions of dollars if I was making millions of dollars worth of sneakers and not even touch their bottom line and still live a good life. And I think sometimes people compare themselves and take themselves out the game.
Yes, there's room for everybody.
That's right.
But if it's original, if it's passion and originality that is backed behind the room for everybody,
that's right.
then yes, because then you'll stand out. But if you're just looking at other people's, what are they doing? Oh, let's see what they're doing. Oh, are they going to make money? Oh, that's a good idea. And there's no passion, and you're just looking other places to inspire you instead of really thinking about what you want to do for inspiration and then getting other inspirations from outside. Like,
that's right.
That's different. But you have the root of the tree of the creation has to come from you. Has to 100%. Come within.
And then when you're doing business, there's so many steps to it that you're going to have. It's like a combination lock. Like there's probably.
Oh my God, yes.
It's probably 100 steps to set up everything you technically have to do to set up this shop,
yes.
right? But yeah, 30 of those things may have something in common with another person opening up another shop. But the other 70, like you chose this location, you chose this wallpaper, you chose to set up the shelves like this, you chose it. You weren't looking at somebody else to do so.
Yeah.
And that's where you can feel your independence.
We stand out.
Yeah, it's the best. And I wish people wouldn't look at things as if I want to make, again, an example, sneakers, but why even get started? There's Nike. Well, you know why you get started? Because you can be the biggest sneaker seller in Manhattan. You don't got to take over the world.
Exactly, your demographics. And also, everybody's ideas are so different. My concept for the shops that we're doing here are so different. I mean, the way that we're doing this, I can't say it right now, but it's so different. We have such a big plan for these shops. And basically, somebody told me the other day that Chipotle had started off of it was a mistake, not a mistake, but they started doing the same thing as me. They opened a Chipotle to start a luxury Mexican restaurant or chain of restaurants, and Chipotle ended up blowing up and being not what it was supposed to be,
Exactly.
So I truly believe that. Another thing I also believe in is a lot of women these days, a lot of men, in general, men forever, have been supporting each other and funding each other and doing business with each other. Women have not. And that's a problem. I feel like women need to. It's not like we don't make money. It's not like we can't. But I feel like they're scared or there's too much cattiness for them to understand that we can prosper here. And I think that, the businesses that I run, my first thing is I want my girlfriends to be involved. I want all girlfriends that I had to be involved because you are going to change the world. Like, we're going to change this, So my business partner, Athena, she's my business partner. And I didn't need a business partner, but I felt like, okay, she wanted a percentage. And I said, you know what? I thought about it. I spoke about it with my mom, my dad, and I said, I'm going to help change my friend's life. Like, I want this. I want us all to win, So I kind of, said, I want her on board. And with my business partner in the swimwear, I had no intentions on bringing anybody aboard on that either. But I figured, she was younger than me, and I could tell she didn't know really what she could do with her life. She's a beautiful girl. So I said, well, maybe you can join me on the venture of the swimwear. And I gave her a percentage. So it changed her life in some ways too. Now she works for the Real. So I mean, so anything that I can do to change somebody's life, I do. And it's so funny today, Victor Hugo, he's a poet, very famous poet, French poet, born the same day as me. And today I read that he had a quote that said, if you can just touch somebody and change their life just that 1 second, so why not be it? And literally, that's so funny because that's who I am. I represent that. If I can just touch you in 1 second and change your life, then mission accomplished. I can
That's
help,
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now let's dive into that. Now I know that the partnerships you've had, they seem like they've worked out well for the swimsuit line and definitely for the shop. Could you speak to the difficulties of maybe finding that partner, that good fit at first, or even once you get going, managing that relationship, that partnership, because it's a relationship nonetheless.
I mean, it's hard. I'm not going to lie. You expect people to be as driven as you. You expect people to want to put in as much as you, but people want the title and don't want to put in the work.
Understood.
So if you can't help who you are. So if a person, has the greatest intentions in the world and wants to be part of a business, they might just not know how to. They might just not know where to start, where to go, and didn't go to school for it. My confidence comes from being at FIT and learning the steps. Believe it or not, it's subconscious. It really seeps in because you don't think so. But once you get out of college, you're like, okay, it gave me the confidence to be able to do this. That's nothing, But other people don't see it that way. So, it is something. I just feel, I forgot what was the question.
No, you're addressing it. You're saying how people, when you have partnership, they come on board with great intentions.
Yes,
but
so
they
it's
never execute.
really hard to back down to actually understand that. If I weren't who I was, and if I was younger, when I was younger, I didn't understand that. It took a lot in me to be like, okay, not everybody is like you. And my father had to say, Nadege, don't you understand sometimes that maybe you are smarter than a lot of people and that you have to actually maybe talk and communicate a little bit more because you are a little fast forward. You are faster than a lot of people. So I said, okay, that makes sense. And that really, really made sense. That resonated with me. So yes, now that I'm older, I feel like now I can adapt that better and say, okay, this person might not understand this more or understand at all, and I have to scale back and maybe give them a YouTube video or teach them something or do something. But when I was young with Val for the swimwear, it's very your raw emotions and you're young and you're studying a new business, and I don't know if you're familiar with Danielle Bernstein. She was the owner of We Wore What. She was on Forbes 30 Under 30. Very well-known woman and young lady. And she went to FIT as well. My mom keeps on comparing me to her because she thinks we're like so much alike. And Val, my business partner too, she sends me videos of her all the time. And it's so funny because she got into some kind of social media war with somebody, but for real reason, overstealing samples, selling them. I would be mad too, but I told Val she handled it that way because she's young. She's full of emotion. That happened so fast. And yes, if it would have happened to me at her age, I would have probably acted the same way. But now that I am older, now that I've been through a little bit more businesses and ups and downs, and losing money with investor when I had all the opportunity in the world, literally. That's a big hit, So you learn a lot from that, and then you just have to adapt that in your relationships, honestly. And so now I won't react that way, I would be like, okay, well, I understand she had raw emotion, she's young. And then right after, she just sent me a video 2 days ago of her saying, that's just the lesson of growing and learning from business. And, sometimes you react a certain way and blah, blah, blah. But of course, when you're young, you're going to react that way. So it's very hard to learn from partnerships. And again, this partnership here is mostly financial because I gave her a little percentage, so she doesn't have that much work to do. But even then, to explain to somebody, when you put in 10% or 15%, there's so much more to doing that. You're creating a baby. This is now your parents now. Right. So now you have a child. So now you're giving 15% of your time, which is supposed to be 15% of child support. You know what I mean? Understood. In business world. So it doesn't just stop there. You don't just give 15% or 15,000 or whatever the case may be. That's your money that you want to grow as well. You can't depend on that person 100% and say, oh, well, I'm just going to let her make my money grow. No, you have to also put in some work and say, well, I want my money to grow as well, and I want to make sure that it's growing in a certain way, a certain direction. So I got to put in some work. And that's why I feel like a lot of people fail to recognize the partnerships. They want to put in the money, they want the glitz, the glam, they don't want to put in the work. And then when they see something not working their way, they say, well, what happened? And you say, well, it's a partnership. I need your help for this to work.
I understand.
And that's a problem.
Now let me ask you something. I can only imagine the level of resistance you may have gotten just being a woman, being confident, being a lot. I don't want to say aggressive, because aggressive sounds wrong, but being
assertive.
Not just assertive, executing. Like I want to say you're not just like you're trying to get things done. So you're moving at a pace that you're trying to make sure things get done. Of course, you're scared. We're all scared of failure, so we're running away from that too by trying to get things done. What type of high level, what type of experiences have you had, and what have you learned from those experiences? Obviously, probably being judged in those situations.
So, what's funny about me, the reason why I started all these businesses ultimately is because I can't work for anybody, because I'm always being judged, no matter what. I mean, I physically, I get judged all the time. Oh, I have fake boobs, I have fake this, I got something, and I've never had. I have a Rastafarian father. I never even looked at plastic surgery, but women tend to judge. And then men, not that they want to judge, they tend to just want favors from you. So it's very hard. Look at the investment went through because he saw, well, this woman's all about business. She really doesn't want nothing to do with me.
That's right.
Physically. So that fell through because of that, and I know that. But it's very hard, and that's why it's very hard to be a woman. I tell women my age, I'm like, don't look at yourself as a gender. You better step out of your shoes and look at yourself as an individual, because in this world, you're going to have a shit time. I'm sorry, but a hard time, because that's very hard for a woman to do that. You have to literally not look at because the guy's going to look at you like, oh, she's weak. No, I'm not weak, okay? You have to step forward, and you have to put yourself out of your gender and just say, I am an individual, and this is what it's going to be, and speak to them as an individual, because a lot of women get intimidated by just the energy or look. As soon as they approach a man, it's like, oh, she's smaller than me, or her opinion doesn't matter as much, or no, it does.
Yeah, I mean, you guys represent. I mean, any type of market research when you're dealing with a big company, especially like big box stores, consumer packaged goods, they know they have to market to the women. They know that women are making 80 to 90% of all purchase decisions.
Of course.
That's leverage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of leverage.
Yeah.
If it's used correctly. And like you were saying earlier, like some women don't even have, and I understand why we live in a crazy society, but some women don't even know that they have that leverage. You have the leverage to make a purchasing decision. Okay. That equals you have the leverage to understand what customers want, because you're the number one customer that companies are going after, and you can affect that if you have a business idea, a product, a service. And that's what I thought of when you brought that up about women not sometimes recognizing the power that they have and having the opportunity to do something but kind of pulling back, or even maybe I've encountered some people who are shy, but they're shy because it's almost like it's not about the idea, it's just the fear of being judged, so they don't want to even start their own idea.
Exactly, and they think automatically, but that's why I started SDS, Sirène de Soleil, the swim line, exactly the way I did. Because people judge me so much, that's why I said, okay, I'm not even going to put myself out there. I'm going to make this look like a corporation. As soon as I made it look like a corporation, people started buying, people started respecting, and everything. It was a total different aspect. Same with Cannabis and I distributors. The page, the social media has nothing to do with me.
That's right.
So people won't even judge me. So I could still be myself on my own social media, but still, like I just told you, I still have to scale back because I still have to be aware of who's watching me, and people are judgmental. And, of course, I carry brands. They want to be very well represented, and I understand that as well. So it's a 50-50. It's a balance.
Now, how do let's jump into Cannabis Banana distributors, CBD. How did you encounter this idea and the resources to get it started? Like, how'd you come up with the idea?
So it's a really good story. Two factors. I started a pouch called Cannabis Banana Bag. It's right here. And it's $19.99, $20 really, for 18 items for tobacco, CBD flower, or marijuana smokers. And in the pouch, it has 20 mini items, or right now 18. I scaled back. I took 2 out. Gotcha. It's very useful. I made about 100 of those pouches and sold out. So I figured a lot of people really liked it. And the attention I got from those pouches was crazy. People loved those pouches, just within Queens and around my friends and stuff. And I got the idea from a papyrus store. Papyrus? Papyrus, yes. They had one of those little pouches for women and pouches for men, and 15 little items for women and 15 little items for men. And I bought one, and when I opened it, I saw a whole bunch of little like hairspray and everything, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. They should have like a smoker's kit like that. And then so I was like, bingo. So I did it, and I trademarked it to Canna Banana Bag. And then my father told me about the opportunity about the shop, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. But the reason why I thought of CBD on even more is because my best friend that I grew up with, Erin, her son was diagnosed with epilepsy, and he was 3.5, I believe, 4 years old at the time, and he was having between 40 to 100 seizures a day.
Wow.
And my father, being a Rastafarian, and me reading about CBD, I said, look, why don't you try giving your son a drop of CBD? After one drop of CBD, the first day she put him on CBD, he never had a seizure again.
Wow.
So it's a miracle. So then when she went to Yale and explained this to him, because she was back and forth from Yale with her son, when she went to Yale and explained that to them, they couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
And obviously, doctors are trained to give out prescriptions and go by scientific studies.
Understood.
And they can't go backed by opinion and what people
or
think.
Anything anecdotal, like this is one of,
exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, the doctor said it's a miracle, but we can't prescribe that, but
Understood.
Do what's best for your son. If these are the results that are showing, so just keep on going, keep on doing what's best for your son. And that's what really got to me. It was such a miracle for me to see that. And I had read an article about a woman that had 6 weeks to live, and her best friend was coming into the hospital and popping CBD pills in her mouth twice a day.
Wow.
And 6 weeks later, cancer gone, survived. I mean, she's alive. She beat it off of CBD. And that's how CBD really became popular, because of this story. So that to me is, there's no side effects of CBD. If I can spread love and heal people and do so naturally, and my father being a Rastafarian, it goes hand in hand. I said, so I'm going to do it. And on top of that, I needed another way or another resource to fund my swimwear. And I don't like working for people. Just like I told you, they judge and they just play with you. And if you don't do this for me, I don't do this for you. And I couldn't take it anymore. So I figured I'm just going to do anything I need to do, except if you're bartending or waitressing. That's different, because you're making your own tips. But apart from that, I said, well, I'm going to take this money and start my own businesses. So that's what I did. And when my tax return check came, I said, well, any type of money I made, big chunks, I never bought myself Christian Louboutin shoes or anything. I always put it towards helping my family, helping bills, or investing into shops and into starting businesses. So when I got my tax return check last year, I opened the shop. I said, well, I'm going to put down on the shop. I did all the construction with my father. And then we opened it. And my best friend, well, not my best friend, one of my closest friends, Athena, said, I want part. I love your passion. I love your message. I love the concept and idea. She said, I honestly think it's going to be a hit. And she's like, I want part of it. And after 2 days of thinking about it, I said, you know what? I love you. You're my girl. I know, not a lot of friends around you have any kind of like inspirations as such, and probably not any opportunities like this for you. So I said, might as well. Why not? Again, I want women to support women. I feel like that's a good way of starting businesses.
Now you work here with your dad. He helps run the business.
Yeah.
How is it working with your dad? Like, you guys are in business together.
I honestly love it. He's so smart and like innovative, and oh my God, he comes up with so many ideas, so many amazing ideas. It's crazy. I mean, they're amazing and help a lot for the shop.
Yeah.
I mean, tremendously.
Yeah.
The ideas he comes with are so inspiring, I don't even know what to say, so innovative. And he helped with everything here. He helped with the wall, he helped with the paint, he helped with every single thing in the shop, and idea too, and very, very helpful.
That's awesome. I'm glad I got a chance to have you on the podcast today.
Thanks.
I'm glad I also had my last episode. Your mom, she really did well. And she was saying, I'm kind of shy. I don't know how long it'll go. And I was like, no, you'll be all right. And she just, getting into her story, she just lit up and she just gave me like a real great interview. So I really appreciate that. I know she's super busy just from the description of what she does.
Yeah.
And then being in the office, you see it's like not a mouse is making a sound. People's heads are down working.
I know.
So she gave me some quality time. I appreciate that.
She is a beast. Well, she is my number one inspiration. She's always been the most hardworking woman ever in my life. Best friend. I mean, she's the best.
So how would you say, your energy is right now? Like the shop is up, it's going good. Do you feel any pressure? Do you feel like you're just out there playing on the court by yourself? Do you feel any of those things, or are you just flowing?
I don't feel any pressure. Okay, well, in Connecticut, my theme is a little bit different. I feel like a lot of the CBD shops right now look all the same, very simple, maybe medically looking, It doesn't offer a euphoric feel.
That's right.
And I feel like this is different. It offers you a euphoric feel. You also have edibles.
Yeah.
And the can of banana bag, which is, specific. And another thing that we're going to do is enable some parents that can't afford CBD giveaways, monthly giveaways. So parents that can't afford CBD within the United States, and it's not covered by insurance, that have a hard time getting it because it is expensive, then we'll be able to do that in a few months when the sales pick up. But I'm not worried about the competition or anything. Yeah. I'm really not. I feel we have a different look and feel.
I feel like since states have loosened up laws.
Well, New York doesn't allow edibles anymore. So that's what I was going to say. Another market for me, since I'm right here, is we want to open up one soon in New York, in New York City, but have their deliveries, because I can deliver on all 50 states, and I can bring anything I want to that location, but not sell it there.
Understood.
So if anybody needs to order the edibles online, they can order them and pick it up in the location, not being sold in the store, not being sold under state tax, New York state tax, but still under Connecticut state tax, still legal.
That's great. That's great. Now, I probably got ahead of myself a little bit, but what is CBD oil? I know a lot of people know what it is. I know I'm just learning about it within the past 6 months. I started hearing about it and its effects, and I was helping people. But for anybody in the audience who just may not be familiar with CBD oil,
it's cannabinoid oil. It comes from plant, and it offers all the It offers all the benefits of the plant, since there are so many. There's over 300 terpenes in a plant, which are oils, and each oil targets a specific area, or specific muscle, specific nerve in your body, or well-being as well. So if somebody were to ask what CBD is and does it get you high, no.
Gotcha. Yeah,
it does not get you high. It's a stigma that we need to actually break, because there's a difference now. They're coming up with CBG. They found out that CBG comes out of CBD, but CBG, if you take it away from the CBG is more for the health benefits, and the CBD is more for the well-being benefits.
Understood.
So the more they're diving into this research, the more they find out about this plant and what a miracle it is. Wow. So if you extract the THC from this plant, the miracle of it is endless. It's insane. I have bad anxiety. The first time I took CBD, I have anxiety, and it gives me trouble eating. The first time I took CBD, I was eating so much, and I didn't realize what I took. I forgot that I had taken it. Then I took it again. Another time I was eating, and then I was like, oh my God, that was from the CBD. It stopped my anxiety and said, it's okay, just eat. So I was like, wow, that was a miracle. And then I started realizing, no, this really is what helps your anxiety. I mean, it's crazy. We have customers that come in here and that say it changed their life. There was a customer whose father had migraines for 20 years. He came in, bought a bottle for himself of the Sono 1420 water soluble one. Those are water soluble cocktail mixers or water mixers. He bought one, gave his father a few drops under his tongue. He came back the next day and said his father for 20 years had migraines. That was the first time that they disappeared.
Wow.
So it just goes to show you to what extent this really, really can work. And pharmaceuticals are obviously very threatened and very scared of these kind of companies because, yes, there's no side effects, and yes, there's remedies, and yes, it works, and yes, it's natural. So it is a big threat if you think about it. They're going to lose a lot of business if these people realize that there's Xanax. There's no need for it anymore. I mean, you know, and it kills you. So, I mean, it literally kills your body, you know?
Yeah, I think that the great thing about the generation we're in, I'm literally doing a podcast that's going to be on the internet, right? Like, this is the generation we're in. I don't need a radio studio or permission to put this out there to the world. Is that this generation, my generation, the generation following, they're really changing the world. They're really changing the world. And I can't even say like it or hate it because you really don't have a choice. The world is changing, and I don't know. You cannot participate in it or the changes. I mean, like, you cannot participate in it. It's up to you. It's up to every individual. But I know when we study history, we talked about, we would always talk about different revolutions, that like industrial revolution, et cetera, et cetera. And now we're in a tech boom, a tech revolution. And not just the technology itself, like a self-driving car, but the access to information. Like, people didn't know what these things were. And now they're starting to learn.
Even in other countries. I mean, I shipped, in France, CBD is not legal yet. They're making advancement, but I shipped some CBD to a friend of mine in France I hadn't seen in 20 years because her fiance, her husband, had renal failure, and then you know, I have people from all around the world asking me, do you ship here? It's not legal here, but please let me know. I'm willing to try it, you know, tired of the medication, don't want to do this, it's hurting me. I mean, I hear it constantly. And when my grandmother has fibromyalgia, she's 81 years old. She was getting cortisone shots, and that's not really good for you either, at 81 especially. So I started giving her Highline CBD. Shout out to Highline, I love them. Highline CBD, and she loves it. She said she called my family in France and said it changed her life. She doesn't feel her symptoms anymore, even though she wants a little bit of a stronger. I recommend maybe 3,500 or more for fibromyalgia. She only takes 1,000 milligrams of CBD per ounce, which is about 66 milligrams per milliliter, per drop per milliliter. And she said it changed her life. She also takes the lotions that I gave her, and the gummies, and she swears by it. She's happier, doesn't complain. Her inflammation went down. Her joints are good. Her muscles don't hurt. I mean, it's all around a combination. And she started taking it about 2 months ago, and she hasn't been back to the doctor. I mean, and she's 81.
Wow.
So it's a miracle.
And like I said, I'm glad that people can do their own research. People are starting to become able to make their own decisions. I think,
of course,
we're in a heightened political thing, and I feel like things get taken and opinions are launched out there, and that's cool. Everybody should have their own opinion. But I think the fact that you can research anything and try to understand it if you can. And there are so many people, even doctors, who are coming into natural medicine. I remember maybe a little bit before Whole Foods even, but maybe us getting up here. But remember, it used to be the weirdest thing that you would be into natural cures, or you would be considered a tree hugger.
Yeah,
remember,
and so
like,
weird,
but now Whole Foods is part of a $1 trillion company called Amazon right now.
Oh, yeah.
And you were considered like a weirdo, tree hugger, hippie, like all these things were for now. Everybody's doing better for themselves.
Because you know why? The opioid crisis is also taking a lot of people's lives. And they're saying, enough is enough. I mean, they're obviously lying to us, these people. The pharmaceutical companies are obviously lying to us. They obviously don't care about people. They obviously care more about money. They're not stopping what they're doing. So yeah, people start it gets them angry when you start losing your son, your daughter, this and that. You're like, there must be a change. And these places, these kind of shops, especially my shop, makes you forget about all the political BS that's going on and brings you back down to the ground of nature and makes you understand we're all human beings. We all have the same problems, the same symptoms, and nature is the only healer of all this. No matter what kind of political belief you have, these are definitely the kind of things that bring you back down to nature and back down to the ground and say, you know what? This is more important. My health, my life, my children, not everything else. You can't do anything without being healthy. You can't prosper. You can't give anything else. You can't give your kids anything else unless you're healthy. So.
I think what I like about this interview is that literally in real time you're exemplifying the passion you got for what you do.
Thanks.
You take the time to research, deep dive into anything you do, and I've just known this even before the interview. We had some conversations and stuff like that. So I think that this shop is just destined to blow. I know that you guys have set up. How long ago did you set up the shop?
About 3 months ago. It took us about 6 months to do everything and renovate and everything, but we opened it 3 months ago.
And already you guys are putting yourselves in position to even consider, do we need a second store?
Yeah.
And that's in 3 months of hard work.
Well, yeah. Just because we see the kind of, return, people come all the time and we see what's happening and we're just like, there's a need for this, and a lot of people are seeking more natural remedies and alternatives to whatever they're going through. And I feel like that's really important. It's really important.
It is. It's important that everybody. It's just important that people participate in what's going on. I guess
of course. Of course.
When I see the things that like young high schoolers are doing, social media platforms with hundreds of thousands of followers because they have an opinion, especially if they're different. Especially if they're different. Especially if they're like closed off at school or there's bullying. Like people are starting their own channels to express themselves.
Of course.
And it's the best. I remember looking at an interview a couple of days ago, and a guy's response to the boom of social media and the internet, he was like, he's basically saying that creativity should be left to the bigger companies, the corporations and stuff like that. Almost the idea was that they know best. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
he's Republican. I'm just playing.
That's funny. I just think that now everybody has a shot and everybody should take their shot, because the risk of doing it is much lower. So if you have a business idea, if you have an idea for a nonprofit, if you have an idea to start a service, to open a shop,
if it's passionate, just go for it.
Just do it. You literally have
nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Like your worst case scenario is whatever you're doing right now. When you come across this podcast, you can go back to doing that.
Yeah, and then you learn from your experiences. You fell, okay, you get right back up.
That's
and when you fall, you get back up. Same thing in business. You fell, you learn from it. But if that's who you are, you're an entrepreneur at heart, and you want to start businesses, then you'll just look for another way to make money, another businesses to start.
And most of the time, we talked about earlier about our devastating L's that we took, 1 or 2. But most of the challenges you encounter aren't devastating. They're literally lessons. It's like, you were trying to navigate yourself from here to Baltimore, and you took a left. You should have took a right. Get back on the road and just take a right. Like, it's not going to kill you.
No, it's
not. And you don't have millions of dollars to lose anyway, because you don't have millions of dollars to lose.
Of course.
So you can only gain. Like, you're playing with the house's money on some level.
Yeah, and rejection only leads to something stronger.
Yeah.
Only leads to a wiser, stronger human being. I mean, everybody gets rejected. It's not that big of a deal. It's just, it's life. even all these big people, all these celebrities, all these billionaires got rejected, failed once, got back up. I mean, it's not that serious.
And the other thing I encounter a lot that I myself fell victim to is the realization that there's more than one way to do a thing. A lot of times when you talk to investors talk as if, oh, what are you doing? And how are you doing it? Oh, that's not going to work. Yeah. It's like especially nowadays, you cannot say
what's going to work.
The number of stories from people mailing mattresses and making hundreds of millions of dollars mailing a mattress. Something myself was like, I would never buy a mattress through the mail. Still, hundreds of millions of dollars from mailing a mattress.
Yeah. And you never know.
You never know. They had a hunch and they were right.
I have so many businesses in my mind. Yeah. I'm a creator. I'm a designer before anything. Everybody's like, and I'm an entrepreneur. No, when you're an entrepreneur, yes, you start businesses, but before that, you are a designer. That's you are a creator. So I am a designer. I design and create, and then that leads to entrepreneurship. But I truly believe that, once you start creating and such, and, believing in yourself and believing in what you want to do and helping others, then you're going to go far. Yeah. No matter what you want to do. Yeah. It doesn't matter. If you choose to sell peanuts on the corner, then they better be the best damn peanuts, and you better be there every day. Because that's what it comes down to.
And the great thing about you living in New York, sometimes it's just a population thing. Sometimes just setting up literally a cart on the corner. Of course. Times the fact that 12 million people are in this city every day. Yep. You get your small percent of that 12 million people, whether you have an average thing on your car, hot dog, peanuts, or whatever, or whether it's 1%
of that.
Yeah, you're killing. You're winning.
Yeah,
you're winning.
I know. There's on HBO right now, on Apple TV, actually, not HBO. There's these mini series, I think, of immigrants that came here and how they developed their businesses in America and made the American dream work for them. Yeah. Very, very, very good. It's amazing, actually. Yeah. It shows that there was this woman, she came from Uganda and started selling cookies in St. Louis. Wow. Her whole family had given her all her money so she can come back, and she said, I'm not coming back. Put all that money that they took to bring her back to Uganda, she put into a cookie shop, and they were so mad at her, but she succeeded and opened her own. So these kind of stories show you what the country's made of and how many people come here to be inspired and start businesses, whether you're born here or not, and that's what contributes to the country. I mean, 100%. all these small businesses create this wonderful country that it is,
I love it. Yeah. And I want to thank you for being on the podcast.
Of course.
I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We got a lot out of this interview.
Thanks. I appreciate you here.
I thank you. Now, tell people your website. I want people to be able to access the website.
Okay, well, right now I am reconstructing it. It's basic, but within 2 weeks we're doing
by the time this airs.
It's going to be fully developed. Yeah. It's CannaBananaDistributors.com. So Canna as in CANNA, banana as spelled, distributors with a O, not a E.com. And our Instagram is Canna Banana Distributors. And if you want to contact us, you can Google us and find us at Canna Banana Distributors in Danbury, Connecticut, on Route 7 on the border of Ridgefield and Danbury, Connecticut.
Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. I want you guys to have a wonderful day.
Thank you.